Hi, I'm Mike Lynch, and I want you to join me on this 5-part series on nutrition. We're going to talk about the myths and misconceptions, and we're actually going to unpack what real quality nutrition and dieting should actually look like. Okay, part 1 is going to be myth busting. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 10 most common things that I've heard, at least in the last year, in regards to bad nutrition information. But before we get started, let me just tell you that you're not alone. And I've been doing this for 25 years, and bad fitness information and nutrition information is nothing new. But I gotta tell you something, we're in 2020 right now, and I'm being quarantined along with you with this coronavirus, and it's really given me more time than ever to actually watch videos and read, and I had no idea how much bad information is actually out there, because now we have our phones, and we have more information than ever. And with the more information, it's more bad information. So if you're frustrated, if you don't love the way you feel or look, realize that you're not alone. There's millions and millions of people struggling with this very thing. So we're gonna unpack a lot of different things, and you're gonna learn a lot in these videos. So 10 myths, here we go. Okay, so here we go, 10 myths that you probably have heard or read. In no particular order of importance, but here we go. Number 1 is going to be that certain food groups should be pulled out, or they are the reason why you can't lose weight or you've gotten fat. Example would be carbs are fattening, or fat is bad for us. And every year something gets demonized. One year protein is the hero, the next year it's the villain. And this goes down the chain of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Who knows, next year we'll be talking about how bad water is for us. But it's a myth. Obviously everybody is individual, and some people are gonna do better on a low carb diet. Some people will have more carbohydrates in their diet. But here's the deal. Just because you do something now and it works for you doesn't mean that it's going to be something that you have to stay on for the rest of your life. So let's give one example. If we have somebody who has insulin resistance or carbohydrate intolerance, most of the time they're going to be diabetic, pre-diabetic. But once those people get out of that situation and they start to exercise properly and incorporate the proper nutrition, okay, they're actually become more insulin sensitive, which allows them to eat more carbohydrates. So now somebody who may have been on a ketogenic diet or low carb diet where they had 30 grams of glucose per day or less, now maybe they can eat 100, 150, 200 grams. So this idea that one specific macronutrient is getting you fat or holding you back is totally erroneous, and it's just really setting people up to have food phobias. So protein, fats, and carbohydrates, they're here for a reason, and everyone is going to need them in a different amount in regards to their age, activity level, health circumstances, you name it. So you do need protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Okay, myth number 2 is gonna be for the ladies. Specific nutrition tailored for females. Garbage, BS. Look, the bottom line is this: we need protein, fats, and carbohydrates. And again, it's not gender specific. Anybody that has done that or sold you that, or you've read something like that, is generally selling you a product or trying to make themselves in a niche category. So we all need those nutrients, and obviously the difference is going to be how much you need, not whether you are a female or a male. It's BS. Okay, myth number 3 is going to be avoiding salt. Look, sodium is an essential mineral, and in fact, when you're perspiring a lot, do vigorous exercise, especially if it's warm outside, you're losing a lot of sodium. And a lot of times when people cramp, whether they have leg cramps or foot cramps, when they're exercising a lot, the first thing that they think about is, potassium, I must be low in potassium. When in fact, most of the time they're low in sodium, because a lot of people have heard that salt is bad, and now they're exercising, they're sweating vigorously, and their sodium levels in their body are actually being radically reduced. So unless you're hypertensive, then you want to maybe in the short term stay away from salt, especially fake salts and processed foods and canned foods, because the sodium that they use there is processing. It's crap. But quality sea salts and Himalayan pink salts and Celtic sea salts, they're quality, they're loaded with minerals that nourish the body. So realize that sodium is not a bad thing in most cases, and just make sure that you're drinking plenty of fluids. Okay, myth number 4 is going to be over-consuming water, or the gallon a day theory, or some people have even said 2 or 3 gallons a day. And that is total BS, and it actually can really run you into a major problem. There's a condition that's called hypernatremia, and now we're talking about salt, right? So what happens is you need a certain amount of salt in your bloodstream, it's blood volume. And when you actually are drinking copious amounts of water, you're actually diluting your blood volume, which can make you feel weak and run down. And some people can actually feel like they're gonna pass out. And in really, really extreme cases, it actually could cause the brain to swell and push against the skull and cause death. So you don't want to dilute your body. You need a certain amount of sodium. So if you're salting your foods liberally and drinking enough water, then you're going to be fine. What's enough water? Well, there's some studies that show that approximately half your body weight to about your body weight in ounces per day. But don't be fooled that you have to drink all this water, because about 70% of the water that you get, or food, is about 70% water. So you think about fruits and vegetables, lots of water, and actually even meats are about 72% water. So if you feel like you're dehydrated and you're over thirsty, or you have dark urine, then maybe you need to consume more water. But this idea that you have to walk around with a gallon flooding your system with water can actually be really detrimental and set you up in a bad spot. So water is an individual thing. Drink when you're thirsty, and if you see your skin getting dry and scaly, or your urine is really pungent smelling, or it's dark, then you're probably under hydrated. So just look at the urine. It should be a medium to palish yellow, and that would give you quality hydration without all the neuroses that go along with drinking copious amounts of water. Okay, myth number 5 is going to be the idea that we need to eat 6 small meals per day, or 3 meals and 3 snacks. Actually, in certain people, this can cause a big, huge problem, especially somebody who's diabetic, because every time we eat, we spike our blood sugar. Okay, and then you have the bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts that feel that if they go too far, too long without protein, okay, that they're going to lose muscle mass. And this has been debunked many times, but there's a lot of people still latching on to this idea. So if you're somebody who actually has weak digestion and you don't like the feeling of big meals, then small, more frequent meals may be appropriate for you, provided you don't have diabetes. But the idea that we need to eat on the clock is just a habit. So basically, the amount of times that you eat per day is an individual thing, and as long as you're sticking to a healthy diet most of the time, the amount of times that you eat is going to be individual, and it's going to be catered to your schedule and your digestion health and your personal life and your family life. So don't feel that you need to be a slave of eating 6 times a day or only 1 meal a day. It's really what works best for you. Okay, number 6, this one drives me crazy. A calorie is just a calorie. This is the idea that, hey, if you need 1,500 calories a day, it doesn't really matter what you eat as long as you just eat 1,500 calories. So if you eat 1,500 calories of chocolate bars, as long as you don't go over that, you won't get fat. And yeah, I guess on a grand scheme of things, that could be accurate, but what are you putting in your body? Do you think that you would be healthy, more healthy with 1,500 calories of good quality proteins, fruits and vegetables, maybe some whole grains and healthy fats, or 1,500 calories of chocolate bars? And obviously someone's body would break down and become diabetic and lose a bunch of muscle mass. And obviously there's things like the thermic rate of food, and that's how much heat production is created during digestion. So this idea that you can eat whatever you want as long as you stay in your calorie means, and I think there's a thing called if it fits your macros, is total BS, and that is a real way to make sure that you have deficiencies and poor health. Okay, myth number 7, I wish was true, and that's gonna be you can eat anything you want as long as you exercise hard. And look, maybe for a 16-year-old that's training hours and hours a day with a really blessed metabolism, they can eat whatever they want without any ill effect. But for most of us, after the age of like 24 or 25, we are gonna have to be somewhat mindful of what goes in our mouth, coupled with a great exercise program. And I wish it was wrong. I wish we can just, because I love to move, I love to exercise. And look, does exercising allow you to eat more forbidden foods? Absolutely. But this idea that you can eat whatever you want as long as you train hard is wrong and can really set somebody up for diabetes, a heart attack, or just feeling crummy overall. So unfortunately, we do have to eat some healthy food. Okay, number 8 actually has no science to back it up. And although it sounds healthy, this idea that we need to eat 10 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables a day has never been backed up. And actually, if you look and use some common sense, if you look back to like the Stone Age and back to our ancestors, the idea that they would have access to this many fruits and vegetables every single day is ridiculous. So there's other places where we get vitamins and minerals. And are fruits and vegetables healthy? Yes. Do they have fiber? And most of them taste really good. So if you like them and you have access to them all the time, then by all the means, eat them. But this idea that if you don't have that your immune system is going to crash and that you're going to be not healthy and not going to have a great body is ridiculous. In fact, I know a few people that never ate fruits and vegetables and they lived until the ripe age of 90-ish, okay? And one of them actually smoked, and I do not advocate smoking, but it just goes to show you can live a long, healthy life without tons of fruits and vegetables. Okay, number 9 is another myth that just won't die, and it's this idea that you can't eat at nighttime. It's ridiculous. You get to eat when you want to eat. You should be eating healthy, real food most of the time, so your body fat doesn't know the clock. And this idea that you're going to work off all the food that you eat that day is ridiculous. Yesterday's nutrition is what fuels today's exercise. So I don't know where these myths come up from. Now, is it a great idea to eat and then go straight to bed? For most people, probably not, because you want to get into deep restful sleep, and if your body's digesting, hard to digest foods like protein and stuff like that, it might disturb your sleep, or you might feel really full. But this idea that it's going to get you fat is ridiculous. Now, poor interrupted sleep in the long term can actually erode your health and get you fat or cause insulin resistance, but it's not eating late at night that is causing it. It's uninterrupted sleep. And if you're eating large amounts of carbohydrates, this can actually have a really high blood sugar response and make you produce insulin, which can kind of slow down or retard the release of growth hormone. And growth hormone is a very powerful hormone for staying youthful and burning body fat. So I wouldn't say it's a great idea to eat a gigantic meal and go right into the sheets. But this idea that if you eat after the sun goes down, that's another one, right? Or late at night that you're gonna get fat is ridiculous. So if you enjoy eating at nighttime and it helps you sleep and it keeps you calm at night, because a lot of people really aren't that hungry in the morning, but they're hungry at night. So again, a lot of misconceptions and a lot of people being driven crazy by this misinformation. So if you like eating at night, go ahead and do it. Okay, myth number 10 you're gonna love, and that's gonna be avoid bad foods or high calorie foods. This is a sure way to make sure that you never lose the weight or get the health that you want or the body that you want. The idea of abstaining from all bad foods is never gonna happen for 99% of the people. Now, we all may have seen or heard or saw that person that is ultra healthy and doesn't eat anything bad, and it's my contention, and maybe you've noticed this, they sometimes look horrible. They look malnourished, they look over thin, the quality of their skin is no good, and that's because they're too healthy. And yes, you can be too healthy by not eating enough calories. So there are benefits both physically and psychologically to having bolus, or that's a fancy word for saying high amount of calories, especially when you've earned it. So if you're on an even calorie load and you get spikes of high calories, whether it's every Saturday, the name is cheat day or a refeed day, this is actually beneficial to your mind, to your muscle, and actually to your thyroid health. So this idea that you have to stay away from all bad foods is really a dangerous thing that you don't want to entertain, because it will either give you an eating disorder, or a lot of times people just give up and they pack on 50, 60, 70 pounds because they were trying to be too healthy. So 95%, 70%, 97% of your food should be healthy, whole foods, but you should reward yourself and understand the metabolic benefits to actually getting boluses or high amounts of calories periodically. So that's it. That's number 10. So go out, get yourself some pizza or tacos, and know that Mike Lynch said it was okay. Okay, so thanks for sticking with me through that 10-part series of the myths and misconceptions. And God knows there's probably 100 more. And maybe we'll do more videos on this as they come to my mind, but those are the 10 top ones that just came to me. So if you've followed some of this information, just know that you're not alone. Like we mentioned in the beginning, bad information is out there, but that's why we're making this 5-part series for you. So we'll see you in part number 2, and we're gonna talk about protein, fats and carbohydrates, and then we're going to actually finish off with how that should all be structured, how many calories should you eat. We're going to lay it all out. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.